All right, hi guys. This is my video now for 214 through 215. Hopefully you saw my note, the lesson plan, that there should be 27 here for our change in y. Oh, and that hopefully makes sense to you because we have a 58 here and a 31 highlighted on the y-axis. So 58 minus the 31, okay, let me just jot that in here, gives us that 27. For that's how many tiles have grown among three figures, because we went from figure 4 to figure 7. So if the growth factor here is 27 tiles divided among those three figures. So I'm going to set up that fraction. 27 divided by 3, and most of you are pretty good at doing your division, so that is going to give us 9/1. So that means our growth factor here for this line is 9 tiles for every figure. And I'll just label that here, 9 tiles. And this is per one figure. So if you need to add anything to your notes, feel free to add to your notes. If you need to fix something that was in your notes, please do. But it's so important here to remember to read the graphs. We had worked on that a lot in chapter 1, and it is continuing here in chapter 2 as we're working with linear equations and which create lines. So feel free to pause or rewind this section if you're like, hey, I want to watch this one more time to understand what she said. So what we're doing in 213 and 214 is building to this big idea of slope. And I'm going to highlight a couple things here, and hopefully you did that without me. 215 is dealing with slope, and slope is the measure of the steepness of the line. So far we've heard slope, steepness of a line, growth triangles. So the vertical part of the triangle is read as delta y, or change in y, while and I'm going to highlight that here, and I'm going to give this a different color, while the horizontal, or the change in x, is read as the change in x, or delta x. This is a Greek letter, okay? And the reason you might be going, well, why are we using a Greek letter here in math? Because much of our mathematics was founded years ago by Greeks. So it's stuck to our math, and let's answer some of these questions. Okay, here it asks about y. It asks about our vertical change in y, and I'll ask you questions like this in class. This is our vertical change, and if I read here on the graph, I can see I'm going from 2 to 4, so that means I have a change, and I'm going to label it on my triangle of 2. All right, and I am going to go actually kind of move my moving place from here. So I'm going to say that this is 2, and then if I'm looking at my horizontal change, which I would go from left to right here, for my horizontal distance, I'm going to see it goes from 0 to 4. So this change is 4 here. I can see, and notice I'm moving over to the right, positive, and up a positive 2. So if I can label that here, this is going to be 4. And now we have the resource page right here in our flip chart, so you don't need that resource page. We could draw smaller, there we go, a smaller triangle. I'm going to make this green, and I want to choose what's called lattice points, points that don't have any ugly decimal values. So here's just 2 points I chose from 0, 0, so I can see this goes up 1 tile, but over 2 figures. Okay, so that means the slope here is not the nicest value, but that's going to happen with slope. We're going to find out our slope here can be written a couple different ways. So I'm going to write this in purple. With the numbers we have, we can write it as 2 over 4. Notice it's always change in y over change in x, and I'll just note that here, change in y over change in x, or we're going to talk about it tomorrow in class. I like to call it rise over run. And then we're also going to write this as 1 over 2. And if you connect all those ideas together, you go, oh yeah, 2 over 4 does equal 1/2. That is the simplified fraction. And so that is our slope, growth, or what we call steepness of this increasing line. So take a pause. If you need to rewind that. You might need to hear some of those things again. And then we're going to finish up with what is the equation of this line. What is the equation? So we have the slope. So we know we have that portion, which is y equals 1/2 times x. But what's this starting value? We're going to get to know this soon as the b value. And if we look here on our graph, we can see we're starting here at 0, 2. So y equals 1/2 x plus 2. I hope my video has helped you guys. And now you're going to move on to 216, 217, 218, and 218 will need to be added into Notability because unfortunately it didn't make the flip chart. So keep on going, and I hope my videos are helping you guys today.